Dime lo que, dime lo que, dime lo que. Captain Zevin here, back at it again with some more One Piece content. Hope you guys are enjoying my videos. Like, comment, subscribe. Please leave me comments so I can comment back. And without further ado, let's talk about today's video. And that's, what is peak One Piece? Well, everyone has a different take on what peak One Piece is. And today I'm going to talk about what, in my opinion, is peak One Piece. So, one of the times, I would say the first time that we can really say that we got peak One Piece is Alabasta. And that's because this is the first time that the crew is versus Tsuchibukai and the Tsuchibukai's crew. And remember, we had, going into the Grand Line, we just saw Zoro get wrecked by one of these guys. Like, it wasn't even a chance. And now going in, Luffy has to beat one of those guys. Granted, you can argue now that the level of strength between Crocodile and Mihawk is worlds apart, but at the time, they were all the same tier to us as viewers and as readers. So that was crazy hype, thinking that, wait, the crew has to fight one of these guys? Like, did you not see what happened to Zoro? And they freaking went for it. And so when we get to the fights in Alabasta, like, that was epic, you know? Like, everyone had their 1v1s, and, you know, it was really hype One Piece at the time. Like, this was, especially for Luffy, because this was him showing that, no, I'm going to surpass all of you guys. And that was really the first time we really get that vibe from Luffy, and that, holy crap, he can really do this. So that was like the first time we hit like peak One Piece, in my opinion. And then the next time would be Enies Lobby and the Water 7 arc, because there were so many twists that happened in Water 7, and there was so much character development that was going on. Like, first, it's like we have Robin's missing, and then Usopp is arguing with Luffy and then quits the crew. The ship is basically can't freaking go on any more voyages. They can't sail on it anymore. And then all the things that happen with Frankie, and then they're being afraid. Like, the more you got into the arc, the worse things were becoming. And then you get to the point where they confront Robin to see, hey, like, what is going on? Is she friend or foe? And they get wrecked by CP9. Like, it was like, what just happened? But then once they figured out that Robin was on their side, they were like, no, she's doing that she's not gonna die on our watch. And they freaking went to Enies Lobby that no one tried to do before, and the whole time they're just like, we're just here to get our crewmate back. And then you have the famous I Wanna Live, and just the emotions that came with all of that. I don't know anyone that can down that arc. Like, for so many people, that's like arguably the best arc that Oda's ever done before. And that's peak One Piece. Like, the crew was elevating themselves to not just in power, but as people. Like, they were really evolving into a crew, like a solid crew in this arc. You have the things, you know, the dialogue between Sanji and Usopp trying to figure out, you know, who can do what. And you got, you know, Zoro at some points like kind of leading the charge, and people are like, wait, he's not the captain? And then you just see Luffy freaking miles ahead taking out all the scrubs. And then he fights Bluno and shows us Gear 2, and then leading up to eventually when everyone's doing their 1v1s, and he shows us Gear 3 with Lucci. Like, for a very, very long time, the Rob Lucci fight was the most iconic fight in One Piece. And there's like no argument to that. Like, it wasn't until very recently with like the Katakuri fight that's finally even debatable anymore, you know? So to me, that was another point in time where we had peak One Piece. Another point in time would be Sabaody, when we got to the Shabadi arc, and it starts off nice. Hey, we're about to hit Fishman Island. You seeing rivals of the crew, and then you get the things with the Celestial Dragons, and then suddenly an admiral's coming, and then we are finding out that there's a thing called the Pacifista. And then we get to, and up until this point, like, we gotta realize that even though the crew may have had minor setbacks, they never really lost. Like, the closest they had gotten to that up to this point was when Aokiji came. But then Luffy did like the man-to-man fight, and then Aokiji basically gave him another shot in a sense and let him go. But we never even thought for a moment, hey, the crew could lose, like really, really lose. And then we get to, then next thing we know, and mind you, and in this arc too, we also have, the introduction of Rayleigh, and Rayleigh and the lore that came with him, figuring out connecting dots between him and Crocus and Shanks and Buggy. But then even with Rayleigh's help, they had an admiral, a pacifista, Sentomaru, and eventually Kuma showed up, and they're just like, how do we even move forward from this? And you can tell after they took down the first pacifista that Luffy was just like, we just need to get out of here. Like, once people started showing up, it was really bad. And even when things were getting bad, I know so many people, as we were reading, we're just waiting for that miraculous thing to happen where, oh, they got away. That was a close one, guys. And that never came. It was just boop, boop, everyone gone. Like, utterly defeated. Like, this is Luffy's most broken point in the series up until this point. And to me, that was peak, because Oda took something that, for us as readers and viewers, we just kind of took it as, no matter how bad it really gets, they'll be okay somehow. And then this time it was like, oh my gosh, they like are really not okay this time. And I remember talking to my friends about it, and we were just in shock, just freaking going crazy, because this was around the time that we actually started, that at least for me and a couple of my close friends, we started reading One Piece weekly. So this was like very close to catching up weekly. So we're just like, do they come back? Like, they're not dead, because there's more chapters. But that was peak. And then, in my opinion, Marineford War, it was hype. It was an amazing arc. I loved the arc. But to me, that wasn't peak One Piece. Because to me, when I think of what's peak One Piece, I'm thinking about the crew. I'm thinking Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Nami. Like, what's the milestone that the crew is attaining right now? To me, that's all the peak parts. So Marineford War was like, there's nothing that beats that hype. And it was an amazing arc. But to say peak One Piece, I have to disagree with that. And then and then right after that, when we get Fishman Island, to me that was another peak point in One Piece, because you get the crew coming back from this 2-year training. So the milestone in play right now is, what's the results of all their training? Are they really ready for the new world? And the answer to that was a resounding yes, we are. And you see, some of the stuff that everyone's learned. We don't see everything yet, but we get enough to know, don't mess with the crew. Like, they are on a different level. So then we get to, all the New World arcs, and now getting into Wano. To me, Wano is finally that next peak of One Piece, because this is what all of the New World Saga has been building up to. Like, ever since we got off Fishman Island and got into Punk Hazard, it was like, alright, we're gunning for Kaido. And obviously in Fishman Island, like, they made problems with Big Mom, and everything's come together to now both Big Mom and Kaido are in Wano. And the crew has to beat them. And obviously there's an alliance, and we have, and that adds to it, you know, that's the hype that goes with the peak part of this, because you got so much of the worst gen in here. You got the 3 captains from Sabaody, and they're the ones taking on the Yonko right now. Like, this is elevating them to the next tier, to the next level in the pirate game. And we're getting things like, you know, to the point where now people are like, yeah, Luffy is downright a Yonko now. Like, he is that strong. And the whole crew, through their fights, though in the manga, you know, one could say that the fights have been, you know, or kind of some of the fights have been rushed. You can say, though, that it is showcasing that, yo, the crew can really tangle with the top people of the Yonko crew. Like, it's not just, oh, it's the monster trio and they'll handle all these big guns and then the rest of the crew is like fodder control or kind of doing miscellaneous stuff. No, everybody's holding their own. Everyone has their thing they have to do, and they're accomplishing it, and they're doing amazing with it. And we just continue to just absorb the greatness of this arc and this peak of One Piece, really, because there's not much left that comes after this. So, and you know, we've been building up the hype for this arc for many years, and we're at the climax. So, you know, you can't help but be happy about it. But those are my takes on what's peak One Piece. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for some more content, and support your boy over here. And with that, Captain Zevin is out of here.